Well, welcome back to Rudgy aka the Doctor. If you haven't already, Trapezaki. Massive cockerel.
Would you like to see Lord Byron's massive cock?
Gruel.
Lots of people would. Or messing about with a big cock.
Suits you, sir.
Suits you, sir.
So these two the other day went and saw Olga, my friend. If you watch the channel regularly, you'll know Olga. She owns the fruit and veg place down in Augustoli. And you brought a little friend, didn't you, to go travelling with?
I did.
Yeah, what's his name again?
He's called Trevor, the Travelling Melon.
Yeah, there. Look, see?
And he's a bit cheeky. He wants to be eaten.
He's having a good old wink, though. I think he might have a problem with his... Maybe the sun's got to him.
He needs a pair of shades. And a sun hat.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to Rudgy aka the Doctor. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the share and hit the subscribe. Sit back and enjoy the ride. After all, subscribing's free on YouTube, although my gran said there's no such thing as a free lunch, but it's not really a lunch, is it? And that's another story. Anyway, if you visited the coffee and PayPal page, talking of lunches, this week and brought me a coffee, thank you ever so much for that. It's a massive, massive help at the moment. After all, I am a pensioner without a bus pass. I'm not sure whether they do those out here or not. Anyway, what have we got this week? Well, a few of you have asked for more cost of living. Somebody suggested, Tin Ribs actually, suggested that I did one about my day-to-day life here. So we've got a bit of a mix and match. As you know, those of you who watch regular, I hurt my knee. Probably doing irrigation at the Hobbit house. I don't know. I think it probably aggravated it, and then of course me being me didn't take any notice of that. I should have rested up, and it's got progressively worse. So I'm not going too far afield for the next week, so I'm going to I've had it elevated. I've been doing lots of editing and stuff that I can do sat down. Riding the bike's okay, so long as I mount from the other side. This side, in other words. I usually get on from that side, but you don't realise when you get on the bike you twist, and yeah, I'm alright standing on it, but if I do anything like that, like walk on it or do anything it's supposed to do, then it's pretty painful. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with the video. Oh, before we do, like I say, there's going to be some bits and pieces about daily life, a bit about the cost of living, but there's going to be a beach involved. You'll have to wait till the end to see which one, because I happen to know a lot of you click through, don't you? So let's get on with the video. I thought I'd show Andy and Michelle the tree where the priest, I think it was his son, was hung. And the priest put his cross in the tree, and it's been there ever since. So it's been there a long, long time. I think the story goes him and his daughter or something helps an Italian, a bit like Captain Corelli. And the Germans, when they found out, came back later on, and I think it was his son that got hung. Not sure it was his daughter. And this monument's been there ever since. Of course, the Greeks amongst us, or those that read Greek, will be able to read this. And there's the cross. So yeah, I'll come and stop here occasionally. There's a nice little square here that they've got with an olive press and stuff. There you go. Another day in Kefalonia. I won't go into too much detail because I don't think there's any need to, but because you can Google it. On the way through to the airport, if you take the signs, not the route that the locals use, you'll go through Metaxeter and you'll pass this place here, which is the site where Lord Byron's house once stood. It's not Lord Byron's house, it's the site where it once stood. Anyway, there's a little plaque here, I'll show you. There you go. And I thought I'd bring my mate Andy and Michelle so they could see it. And in there's a little monument to him. He went off to fight the Ottomans, I think. You can't quite read that now. I think the village clubbed together and stuck all this up for him. Massive cockerel. The Hobbit likes a massive cockerel.
Would you like to see Lord Byron's massive cock?
Gruel.
Lots of people would. Or messing about with a big cock.
Suits you, sir.
Suits you, sir.
Ah, there you go. That's the hopper coming in. Adios beach. Andy and Michelle's last day, so they wanted to come here. So what Andy wants, Andy, guess. We're here. You like the food, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Like the food, like the beach. Nothing much not to like, really.
No. Lovely setting.
And as you can see, Posh Wash is back. Yeah. I doubt that they'd have stayed that clean for very long back in the day. Anyway, we're going to go and get something to eat now. She does like taking a picture.
Where are the holidays? Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah, okay. Very nice.
So we'll see you again.
When did you come back?
We both come back. He lives here.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. We'll see you
So
again.
we'll see you again.
Yeah, thank you.
So there you go. Andy's happy. We've all been fed. And you get to see the place at night. I don't think it does it justice on the video, but it's quite an impressive place when it's all lit up. And the Jeep's still parked there. Anyway, I better get them home. They've got an early flight. Andy's getting me up. Well, it's a bit of a day today. I've just dropped Andy, my best mate Andy, off at the airport with the lovely Michelle, his missus. I'm going to miss him. It was really nice to see him. Well done to the Hobbit for arranging that surprise for me, because she did that on her own, off her own bat. She was very nervous about it, but things like that are priceless, aren't they? Anyway, I've dropped him off and I don't know whether you can see the sign. I'm outside the ICA office, which is the, well, I suppose it's their equivalent of your stamp, really, national insurance. So I put my S1 in, which will then, British government then cover my healthcare, so I don't have to pay for it. I think you still have to pay for prescriptions and things like that. I haven't really worked it all out yet. All I knew was I had to put it in, so it's interesting. You go downstairs with all your paperwork and the girl gives you another bit to fill out, and then some guy came from behind a counter and stood by me, because I can't read Greek obviously, help me through the form. Fantastic. Went through the form and he said, okay, that's fine. There's a couple of things that could have tripped me up, like my name is the same as my dad's name, David. So we had to put the middle names in, which I wouldn't have done, so that would have caused a problem. Then they sent me upstairs. You've got to love this country. I go upstairs then, where another guy put me on the system, found a number for me, wrote that on the top of the forms, and I go back downstairs to the guy I saw originally and give it to him, and he now says they will call me when it's fixed. So anyway, thank you guys if you're watching at the Ica office. Pretty painless. I've seen things online that spooked me a bit about it being difficult. So now I'm going to walk through the town, get myself a coffee, have a bit of a relax, and go back and sort the Hobbit out, because she's working now. She's had a few days off, but she's all stressed now because she's got to work, so we'll sort that out. I'll go and get a coffee, get back to you in a bit. A few weeks ago I brought my S1, which is the NHS agreement with this country to look after my healthcare. We got the cost basically. You have to take the S1 into this office here, the ICA, which is the government building which deals with all that sort of stuff. And then they issue with an AMCA number, which eventually will go be the same number as my tax number eventually. From what I've read, they're going to amalgamate all these different numbers, so it makes it a simpler system and it's all one. Now, I thought this was going to be a problem. I've read about this and there are people been waiting months and months. You have to renew it every year, March I think she said, but I'll look into that. So yeah, I went in a couple of weeks ago and I got a phone call a couple of days ago to say it was here. There it is, my AMCA number. So now I'm fully insured health-wise. And the people in there, especially the young lady, if you're watching, was extremely helpful. I can't praise them enough. Very, very helpful. Even though one of them doesn't speak English, and why should he? He tried to help and then found somebody that spoke English to help me out. So, there we go. My S1 is now in. And I know a few of you were worried about that, but it's all done and that's that sorted. So, yeah, I've got my pension coming in now. I've got my AMCA, so I'm insured for my healthcare. All we have to do now is next year renew this, and then I'm up for my 10-year biometric, so I have to renew that. That could be interesting, but we'll see. So now I'm going to go and get the Hobbit some fittings for irrigation for a garden, so I don't have to go up there every night to water the garden. Might have a coffee while I'm in town and get some vegetables. While we're on the subject of government stuff and paperwork, I did try to get the stuff for the bike sorted out. I popped into the customs office wondering whether they'd forgotten about me. They said they hadn't forgotten, they're waiting for paperwork from the mainland and they can let me know how much it will be. So that's the only update we've got on the bike. No further forward with that really. So once I get to know how much that will be, we can work out whether I can afford to bring it here or whether I've got to get rid of it. So we'll see. Well, today's been a bit of a day. First of all, I go and get my teeth done at the dentist. Supposed to be a polish. It turned out to be a filling. I had one break that he said wasn't very good to start with, that somebody else had done, and he said I'll do a little bit to it, but I don't think it's going to hold up. Anyway, as luck would have it, he's not charged me for that. As luck would have it, I'm running a bit low on funds. As some of you who watch me regularly know, I'm now a pensioner. So I was waiting for last month's pension and this month's pension to combine before I transferred it. And of course the transfer rates at the moment, pound to the euro, are terrible because of what's going on in the world. So I was sort of waiting for that, and then all of a sudden the bike, that needs insuring. And then there was my teeth. I'd forgotten about all this sort of stuff going out, and the rent's due. I always got the money for the rent, so yeah, it's turned out to be well, sailing close to the wind. Now the dentist is an extremely good guy. I could recommend him to anybody. He's good at his job, very good at his job, very friendly. Have a little Greek lesson off him every time I go. The insurance guy, Nikos, who's just down there, who I've just been to see, is brilliant. Now, cost of living, I've been asked about this before. The bike is now 177, I think, a year to insure because the Greek government changed the law. And because of that, there are a few things that you have to have, which I didn't have to have last year. Year before last, I only had the bike insured, and basically it's pretty much impossible to get a bike insured fully comp here. Same goes for a car. It is possible to get a car fully comp, but it's whether it's worth it or not for what you're covered for. Anyway, the bike was road risk. I think it was about 140 euros, something like that. Last year I opted to have the road cover, where they come and collect the bike if something goes wrong with it, take it to the nearest garage or home. And then there's also something to do with fire and theft and stuff like that that they've added on. Well, the Greek government have decided that you now have to have the extra cover in order for the insurance policy to be valid. So instead of it being 140, which I would have probably gone for this year because I'm a bit skint, it was 170, but never mind, it is what it is, and the bike's now covered. So there you go, cost of living. My filling would have been about 50 euros, but of course, like I said, the guy did it for free because although it wasn't one of his fillings that came out, he'd done the one next to it, so he's just a good guy, isn't he? And it's helped me enormously because I was thinking the bike was going to be 140, and now of course, because you have to have the extra cover, it's 170. Still cheaper than the UK though. I think Wayward Child was about 400, 500 quid to insure, something like that. Anyway, I'm going to go and eat some salad now on my new teeth. So yeah, if you want a good insurance guy, that blue sign there. Down there is Argostoli, and that's where all the posh boats come, and the cruise liners moor up there normally. So that's where he is, right there. I'm going to get on the Black Pearl now and head on home. Okay, well, we're at one of my favourite places, and one of the Hobbit's favourite places, Cafe Plantanos. He stocks a lot of craft beers there, and I highly recommend it. We're in the middle of Lordas village, so I'm going to go in and get myself a beer. It does do Guinness and Newcastle Brown Ale. Just check the bike's switched off, which it is, because I have a habit of leaving it on, as you know. Here's the man himself. He's just got the Hobbit, a Guinness, and I'm having a Johnny Smith's. Yanni Smith it should be, shouldn't it, really? I don't know how you say Smith in Greek, though. I don't think it exists, does it? Anyway, you can get anything your heart desires in there, drink-wise. So I'm going to go and drink that now, and I'll show you some of the views. Now then, we're going to have to give you 2 of those so you can genial.
Maybe 3 tonight.
See, if you give your Hobbit 1 of those, she becomes very grumpy and argumentative. But if you give her 2, she's usually all right. Anyway, he's bringing some crisps, so she won't be falling down. Hmm? Anyway, get a lovely view from up here.
How are you again? Nice to see you again. Sorry. Brought you some barbecue flavour.
These bits.
Yes.
One good.
That's usually all it takes, isn't it?
Just the one.
Yeah, just the one. We'll be asleep when we get home now.
I don't think so. We're so lucky, aren't we?
Yes, we are, because that's something else that happens if you take your Hobbit out and she has a drink in the evening. She gets the munchies.
You make it sound like I'll never stop eating.
Right, it's getting on. Probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock as I film this. And I suddenly thought to myself, you've made a few comments in the past, one or two of you, about the cooking that I do on the show and how you enjoyed watching me do it. So I thought I would show you how to cook this fish dish that I'm doing now. Now, unfortunately, Andy, my best mate, has gone back to Dartmouth. He used to catch bass that were like this big and then fillet them. And they were like 20 minutes ago, they'd been swimming and I'd have them in the pan. Can't do that here, but I've got something very similar. So without further ado, let's crack on and I'll show you how to cook it. Now don't worry, you don't need any fancy tools. Chopping board, you'll need some garlic, some ginger, preferably a bass fillet, some rice, Mexican rice I prefer. In the packets, you can buy those in the UK. Difficult to get here, but yeah, Mexican rice in the packets and microwave stuff I found was fantastic. As you know, I used to live on a boat, so I didn't like steaming the boat up, and I found that the packet rice was good. So yeah, there's that. You'll need some chorizo. Now, I prefer spicy chorizo, really difficult to get here. Even just normal chorizo is difficult to get. So after you've chopped the garlic and the ginger up, you don't have to just roughly chop it. You don't need it really finely chopped. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'll put the chorizo in a pan with some olive oil in this case. You could use butter if you wanted. Now, I don't want to get it too hot. You see it bubbling? I'm going to lift it off the heat because I'm just going to sweat this now. It's important to turn it over. We don't want to burn it, and you'll see why in a minute. Just turn them over gently. If I was in the UK, I would have brought the chorizo, spicy chorizo sausage. Lidl's do a very good one. Because you can cut it a little bit thicker, which makes it just that bit easier to cook. You don't want to be burning it. Once you're happy that you see that that's turned the oil slightly red, once you're happy that's happened, I've turned it out onto a plate now. As you can see, got some nice red oil there. Now, you don't want your pan too hot, because we'll burn the skin. So we'll put the skin side down first. And what's going to happen now, hopefully, which used to happen before with the bass, as you can see, the oil should flavour the fish. I didn't put the garlic in straight away because we don't want to burn the garlic, do we? It gets very bitter if you burn it. Here we go. Garlic in. And that now we'll just leave for a minute or two to cook. So now we let that just cook off, occasionally basting it with this oil. Right, so just checking that it's not burning. They're all okay. Move me little prop for the camera. I did pre-cook some rice, so that's waiting there to be refreshed. Now at this stage, it's almost cooked through. I like to, these fillets are quite thin that I've got. I have to clean the cooker again now, aren't I? I'm just basting that. Get my tray out and my preheated plate. Tasty treat. Right, so what we do now, I don't know whether you can see that, it's just starting to go white all the way across the fish. So I know it's pretty much cooked now. You don't want to overcook it. So turn it over for a minute. Now, this is optional. I have a couple of prawns that the Hobbit left behind. Pre-cooked ones, so I just got to warm those through, so I'm just going to chuck those in as well. And by the way, yes, I apologise for the dodgy soundtracks on some of the videos, but I am self-taught at all this editing stuff. and I'm just trying to make it better for you guys. So unless I actually do it, see how it works, then we're not going to find out. The problem I'm having is that you can't just put any old track on because of copyright. So they offer you stuff, and it's not always, it sounds good when you listen to it in its entirety, but of course when I add it to my video, I can stretch it or shorten it, and sometimes that gets lost in the translation. Anyway, we are getting better at it. There will be less music, as I found I can get rid of some of the wind noise, but not all of it, and that's why I was putting it on. So there, that's that answered. That's about ready. So I'll just cook the prawns through, make sure they're nice and warm through, because you don't want to be food poisoning yourself. So we'll turn that off. Oh, before we turn that off, actually, I nearly forgot. I'll just add the chorizo again now, just to give it a warm through. That's what you don't want. That was a burnt bit. Unfortunately, trying to film and do this can be difficult. So there we go, there's a plate. Now I've refreshed this rice, and for those of you I'm talking double Dutch to who don't cook, I boiled this rice, quite a lot of rice there actually, there's enough for 2 people there I think. But I haven't eaten all day, so yeah, so I'd already pre-boiled the rice while I was cooking it. The cooking process takes about 25 to 30 minutes at the most. So what I like to do is put the rice in the sink in a sieve, and then I'll boil a kettle of water, and when I'm ready for the rice, I pour the boiling water over the rice. Really important that your rice is nice and hot, because you can food poison yourself. In fact, you can get all sorts of nasty things off reheated rice. So really, I'd advise you cook the rice and then chuck it on your plate and eat it. That's the safest way. Or the microwave rice, which I said earlier, which is a much better option. Right, time to plate up. Now, some people would have put that skin side up, but we're not a posh restaurant here, are we? Clearly not. Now, this looks a bit of a mess tonight. If the girlfriend was here at the Hobbit, then I'd probably have made more of an effort, but it's just me. So, there you go. Now, you can, if you want to, it's only olive oil and chorizo, pour the greasy stuff over the top. So there you go. Chorizo sea bass. And I can tell you now, it's really tasty. So I'm going to eat that now, and we'll get on with the video. Yeah, that's right, we're at Trapezaki. Yeah, I haven't been down there since we had the floods, and then they started to rebuild the place. I did a little bit about that, so I thought it'd be nice, being as I can't go too far afield, to film it and see how it's come on. I can already see, as I rode down there, they've done quite a lot of work. So let's, I'm going to hobble about now, and we'll have a little wander around. As you can see, beach is back to normal, more or less. In fact, let's go and have a look at that. Yeah, as you can see, all this was devastated during the storm. You wouldn't recognise it now. It looks like they managed to get, I was talking to the guys, they needed somebody with a 4x4 to get along there so they could move the rubbish. Looks like they managed to do that, because he said they weren't allowed to take a JCB on there. Why that is, I have no idea. They've got some funny old laws here. Anyway, as I say, look at that. What a great place to be. Got a few yachts moored up in the bay. And as you can see, the taverna's fully operational, although it was on the last video I did down there when my crew were here. We had a nice meal in there. They've levelled all that road out now as well, by the looks of it. This is all being concreted. They were doing this when I was here last. They've just got a concrete that now. I was talking to them, they were trying to get that done, but they've obviously run out of money because they were self-funding really. I think the mayor gave them a little bit of money. But, got the marina back up again and all the boats are back in. I don't know whether those of you who watch me regularly remember, but I actually walked in there. It was full of rubbish off the mountain. And now, I don't know whether you can see that, we've got fishes swimming around in there. I've dug it all out and we've got the little boats back in. That's nice there. British flagged as well. Lord, that's over there in the background. I think we lost some of the beach, which is a bit cheeky, but then they had to do something with all this rubble that came down off the mountain, so I suppose they've extended the car park a little bit, but we haven't lost that much. I have to say, it's nice to see there's a lot of Greek people down there at the moment. Not many Brits. The other thing I'd say about that is that it's been very quiet on the island as far as holidaymakers are concerned. I mean, yeah, there's a few holidaymakers about, but I can tell you from previous experience, there's not an awful lot of hire cars out on the road. So if there are Brits here, they're not spending an awful lot of money. It's been very quiet. More on that probably in one of the news bulletins that I do. It's been reasonably warm. It's not as hot as it normally is this time of year, so don't believe what you're reading in the press. I think it was 28, something like that, this morning on my balcony out the back of the house. It hadn't quite touched the 30s when me and Stathis had our usual complaints department opened up. But as the days progressed, I've got a bit warm and I wouldn't mind a swim. Probably do my leg the world of good. Anyway, that is Trapezaki restored. You would never know anything had ever happened there. I'm really pleased. They've even put some solar lighting up, look, which we'll have to come down and investigate. Right, so I'm off up the butcher's. More on that in a minute. Right, well, just before I go to the butcher's, this is probably going to go out a few weeks after this event, but Rachel Reeves, who burst into tears in PMQs the other day to me, it's probably a couple of weeks ago to you. This is one of the problems with living in a foreign land. I have to rely heavily on the exchange rate to give me a little bit extra for my pension. And if I get it right, I can usually make a month's rent on top of what I should have had. Rachel Reeves cried, and all of a sudden it wiped out any profit I was going to make, if you like, on my money off my pension. On the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a fortune, and from a human point of view, I don't like to see anybody cry. However, these people at the top have to realise their actions affect smaller people further down the food chain. Now, I may have lost, I don't know, a couple of £100. If I'd have moved a small amount of money, it would have been 20 euros or something. You know, I mean, it's not a fortune, but to me it is. I mean, 20 or 30 euros, that's my food shop for the week, isn't it? So, yeah, that's something else to bear in mind if you're thinking of moving into foreign parts. The exchange rate, which can cripple you if it goes down too low, the pound to the euro.
And now it's time for the news with Rudgy, aka the Doctor. here's this week's news. In this week's news, we have a report on the Mayor's Balls. We have a report on drizzle cake being in shortage supply and tourism. So let's get into it. So earlier this week there was a report about the Mayor's Balls. He has a problem with them apparently. So let's go over to our roving reporter, Dave Rudge in Augustoli.
Yeah, thank you, Rudgy. And news from the capital, Augustoli. The Mayor's Balls. Well, they need a good scrubbing, don't they, really? As you can see, the Mayor's Balls are getting knocked about by cars. My advice to the Mayor would be don't leave your balls on the sidewalk. Anyway, back to the studio.
Thank you, Dave Rudge, and yeah, very interesting report. Anyway, in other news, the Hobbit has been trying to deny reports that there is a shortage of lemon drizzle cake on the island. One of the customers, Fatnaz from Caravados, did actually comment on this earlier in the week by saying that yes, there was a shortage of lemon drizzle cake. He wasn't at all surprised. However, his neighbour Rudgy was supplying him with cheddar cheese and naan breads from the UK. So anyway, I have a guest today. We're going to discuss the tourism here, and it's been very quiet on the island. So before we do that, let's go over to our roving reporter, Rudgy in Lourdes.
Well, thank you, Rudgy, and yeah, here I am in Lourdes. It's very quiet down here. As I've said before, touring around the island like I do as a roving reporter, Rudgy aka the Doctor, I've noticed that this season has been very quiet. This is partly down to the fact that we've had 3 flights cancelled by EasyJet, Manchester, Glasgow and Bristol as far as I'm aware. And also they didn't start the season until mid-June, so that's, you know, we're parting way into the season by then. And of course the Brits make up about 45%, I think it is off the top of my head, of tourism here. So it is very quiet. The other thing that's sort of impacted that as well, I think, is that President of the UK, sorry, the Prime Minister of the UK, isn't helping the situation very much with some of the things he's done. But that's just my opinion. You can leave yours in the comments if you like. But yeah, let's take a look. It's very quiet. Normally you can't park down here, and as you can see we've got a lot of cars about, but they're mostly local, to be fair. There's not a lot of hire cars around. Some beds are empty. The tavernas have only got a handful of people in them. It's not good. And I'll show you something else. Yeah, that's right, just the other end of Lourdes Beach is what's known as the Waikiki Bar. Now, due to a dispute between, what I've been told anyway, is that there's a dispute between the Mayor's daughter and the owners of the Waikiki, and therefore they were granted permission to open this year. There's a few things about that, isn't there, really? As you can see, this end of the beach is pretty quiet now. There's a handful of Greek people enjoying the beach, which is great to see. But I think it's very short-sighted, because that's another problem we've got. People come out here on holiday, they've saved up all year to come, and they want to go and sit in the Waikiki. You know, they want to go and see Costas and his family, because they've got to know them probably, and have a beer and enjoy the wonderful view that you get from there. And I've heard this before, and it's not unusual for people to put a bid in. What you have to do if you've got a beach bar, you have to put a bid into the local authority, closed bid. So what's been happening is that people who have historically had that beach bar for years suddenly don't get it. And of course the holidaymakers come out expecting to see Costas or Makis or Spiro or whatever runs it, because I've seen him for the last few years. He's not there anymore, and they don't like that. So the Boomerang Island is probably not so much of a Boomerang Island anymore. Yeah, that's right, Reggie, it's not all doom and gloom. There is always bar 7. So my advice would be, if you can't get in to the Waikiki anymore because now it's closed, then of course there's always bar 7. Marcus will look after you. Back to the studio.
So thank you for that report, Rudgy. I have with me, sat beside me here in the studio, an expert on all things Kefalonian and food related, Rudgy, from AKA The Doctor, that famous YouTube channel. So Rudgy, what do you think of the problem? Well, thank you, Rudgy. I happen to think the problem stems from Rachel from Accounts crying on television. That didn't help. Of course, the pound plummeted then against the euro. And also the President of the UK, Prime Minister. It's easy to get those two things confused. I think he's probably got a lot to do with this. And then, of course, we had things like EasyJet pulling the flights from Bristol, Manchester and Glasgow. That hasn't helped because, as Reggie quite rightly pointed out, your reporter at Lordas there, 45% I think it is, I don't know, but anyway, yeah, high percentage of people that come to Kefalonia are from the UK, so that's not really helped. I don't think that there's much confidence in the UK. It rains all the time and there's doom and gloom and people haven't really got the money to invest. And of course then there's the drizzle cake problem. You can't get drizzle cake on this island. It's very, very difficult. You can get a lemon cake from Lidl's, but yeah, it's very difficult. So, yeah, in my opinion, I think that's got a lot to do with it. And of course, with the mayor putting his balls on the sidewalk and making the streets narrower, that's probably not helped. I see. Well, interesting. Thank you for that insight, Rogie. Anyway, in other news, you'll notice if you're in the UK that all the weather maps are now bright red. I don't know why they've started doing that. Yeah, I can report that here on the balcony at the newsroom, it's been a constant high 20s for the last week or so. And this morning we're in mid-July, which you'd expect it to be very hot. It's 32 in the shade. I don't think that's extreme, considering this is a hot country in July and August. It tends to get very hot. Ask Robert the weatherman, he'll tell you all about that. Anyway, talking of weathermen, it's over for the weather from Rogie.
Γεια σας, Rogie, καλησπέρα. Koroni Beach, zesty, boli, zesty. Pieces.
Well, thank you for the weather report, Rogie, and yeah, so that concludes the weather. Partridge Cam should be back fairly shortly. They haven't filmed much lately because the director, Gaffer Tape, has lost all his medical supplies, which includes rolls of gaffer tape, sellotape, super glue and various other items. I think they lost those on the plane on the way over. They also lost the drizzle cake they were bringing with them. More on that next week. Anyway, that's the news. Thanks for watching.
Well, that's this week's video. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. The island is quite quiet at the moment, so get your tickets booked. Hobbit says that prices of flights have actually come down slightly. I haven't had a look, so I can't tell, but leave in the comments what you think about all that. Hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, sit back and enjoy the ride. And from a beautifully sunny Caravados, I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching.